In this video, I'd like to share my opinion about science and religions. In fact, religions is a subset of spirituality because for me, any kind of belief or feeling that there should be something much more than material that you can see and touch is already a kind of spirituality. So religion is a kind of spirituality that has a set of rules that people can follow. So it's a convenient kind of spirituality. So in this video, I in fact would like to talk more about science and spirituality of why people tends to compare the two and hoping that one day they will merge or something like that. But I don't personally, I don't think it's necessary to do that because by definition of spirituality, for me at least, is that when you have a feeling or some sort of a gut feeling or beliefs that there should be something much more than things you can touch and feel and see, that's already beyond the definition of science. So science, you require evidence, something that you can measure, something very tangible. But spirituality, it's something else. It's something bigger than that, a lot bigger than that. Like spirituality that talks a lot about love, about all kinds of feeling, which science has difficult times measuring love, measuring feeling, and doesn't even have a solid definition of consciousness, which is like the central role of spirituality. So it's impossible to compare the two because science based on something very tangible, and you should be able to measure or show that numbers or equation to someone else and say, hey, this is what I got, and if you do the same, you should come up with the same number or same evidence. But feeling doesn't have to be like that. It's nearly impossible, but because each and every one of us has a very unique point of view. Even something very simple like seeing. When you see red color, for example, everybody red is very different. Some might see like a little bit redder than the other. Some other might, the definition of red may be a little bit more pink or something like that. So it doesn't matter. Well, even though nowadays it seems like our knowledge of science and technology is very advanced, but still we have an AI robot or a computer that can calculate and can analyze, but still we still cannot come up with a computer or a program or an AI system that can feel. And feeling, it's a unique gift for living beings. And I think that's the main difference. And also in science, if anything that you cannot measure, you cannot calculate, and you cannot find an evidence of, that they don't count that as science. Which, if you think about it, like 200 years ago, we don't have the technology advanced enough to measure and find an evidence of the existence of electrons, for example. Does that mean electrons that doesn't exist at that time? No, electron has been around since the dawn of the universe, right? But at that time, we just didn't have the technology to find the evidence for electrons. The same thing for the Higgs boson that just been discovered just a few years ago. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but we just don't have enough technology to detect them. Same thing for consciousness, same thing for love, same thing for all kind of feeling, maybe spirits as well. So it's at this point, I feel that it's very uncomparable. Like science, our knowledge of science is so like baby steps into the vast universe of things that is beyond human perception or the ability to measure. It's always remind me of the movie Contacts, 1997 by Jodie Foster. In the movie, she was a scientist who doesn't believe in God, and the main actor was some sort of a priest, and he truly believed in God, and it's something that the scientists cannot accept. She said, if God is so powerful, why don't he or she just show himself to the world and say, hey, this is me, this is the evidence that God exists. And the priest kind of asked the ladies back that because the lady loved her father so much, but her father passed away when she was a child. And the priest asked the ladies that, do you love your father? And the lady said, oh yes, of course, very much. And the priest said, prove it. And the lady was speechless, because although she loved her father very much, there would be no way for her to prove that. So same thing for God, same thing for anything beyond science can measure. So there are some kind of effort, especially in Buddhism in Thailand, that they try to find the legitimacy of Buddhism being a sign or things like that. I don't think it's necessary. You don't need to compare. You don't need to compare the two. If you already have a pretty solid feeling that there must be something beyond the tangible, you might call that energy, you might call that vibration, you might call that spirit or God. It doesn't matter. It's just name. Those are just names. So you're more or less on the spiritual side. But if you are kind of person who really need an evidence or calculation or something, that's fine to you, because I was like that as well. If you truly believe in that, and you're happy with that, that's totally fine. There's no reason to kind of mash the two together. One person like sandwiches with tuna, the other person like fried rice, for example, and you don't have to compare the two, that which one tastes better. They all have their own goods and bad. So it's something to keep in mind, that there's actually not that really a battle between science and religion or spirituality. You believe what you believe, and just be happy with that. So if you have any opinion or anything to share, please feel free to write in the comments, and we'll talk about it. Thank you very much for listening.